It happens to everyone. You're lying awake in the dead of night, staring blindly at the ceiling. Out of nowhere, your brain decides to launch an unsolicited movie marathon of your absolute worst life choices. The relationships you ruined by pushing people away, the golden investments you missed out on due to fear, the words you angrily weaponized during an argument that you can never ever take back. We have been conditioned to treat this feeling of regret like a permanent, inescapable life sentence. We view it as a massive, heavy anchor permanently chaining us to a past we cannot change. But what if that entire perspective is fundamentally flawed? What if regret is actually highly valuable data? Yes, the emotional sting is incredibly painful, but that pain is entirely necessary for your personal evolution. Let's break down the underlying psychology of why human beings even feel this agonizing emotion in the first place. Regret is an ancient evolutionary mechanism. Functionally, it acts as your brain's internal shock collar. It intentionally zaps you when you make a choice that threatens your future survival or your long-term happiness. It forces your nervous system to remember the burn so you don't blindly touch the same hot stove again. When we study human behavior, we find that there are two primary categories of regret that people carry. The first category is the regret of action, doing something impulsive that you deeply wish you hadn't. You took a massive risk, ignored the warning signs, and the entire situation blew up in your face. These moments sting sharply. They are loud, they are immediate, and they carry a heavy dose of public embarrassment. But psychologically speaking, human beings actually recover from the regret of direct action fairly quickly and efficiently. You analyze the failure, you lick your wounds, you adjust your variables, and you adapt your next strategy. The second category of regret is infinitely more dangerous. That is the creeping, silent regret of inaction. It revolves around the things you simply didn't do, the uncomfortable risks you consistently refused to take. It's the business you never launched because you were absolutely terrified of looking stupid to your peers. Inaction regret doesn't burn you quickly. Instead, it rots away at your psyche slowly over the course of decades. It quietly creates a phantom of the person you could have been, constantly haunting your present reality. If we truly want to turn regret into personal empowerment, we have to deal aggressively with these phantoms. Let me introduce you to a well-documented psychological concept known in academia as counterfactual thinking. It is our brain's unique ability to vividly imagine alternative outcomes to events that have already happened. Normally, we use this powerful cognitive tool purely to torture ourselves. We replay the tape and whisper, "if only." We say, "if only I hadn't pushed them away, my life would be completely different right now." But here is the secret. You can actually hijack this cognitive process. You can intentionally flip the counterfactual script. Step 1 to empowerment requires a paradigm shift. Stop treating your regret as a permanent emotional failing. Instead, start treating it as a raw, unfiltered data download directly from your past self to your current self. When the regret hits you at 3 a.m., grab a pen. Force yourself to write down exactly what hurts. You must get incredibly specific. Generalities will kill you here. Do not just write down that you regret being lazy. You need to write, "I regret not launching my digital product last October when I had the momentum." Once that thought is physically on paper, it loses its emotional grip on you. It's just a problem waiting to be solved. Step 2 in this framework is to perform a strict reverse engineering audit on the pain you are feeling. Deep regret acts as a highlighter for your core values. It violently exposes what you actually care about in life. If you regret not taking a massive career risk, it clearly dictates that you value personal autonomy over comfortable security. If you deeply regret treating someone poorly in the past, it signifies that you fundamentally value authentic human connection. The emotional pain is nothing more than a compass needle aggressively vibrating and pointing you toward your true north. It is stripping away the noise and showing you exactly the type of person you are supposed to become. Now we move to step 3, the pivot. This is exactly where the psychological magic takes place. You take that extracted data and you formulate a hardline if-then behavioral protocol for your future self. Let's use an example. I deeply regret hesitating on that lucrative business opportunity I saw last year. Your new if-then protocol becomes, if I feel that exact hesitation again, then I will take decisive action within 24 hours. You are actively using the ghost of your past mistake as high-octane fuel to power your very next move. Think of a man who blindly builds a house on a foundation of loose sand. A storm comes and it collapses. He has a choice. He can sit in the absolute ruins of his labor and cry about the wasted time and money.
Or he can analyze the collapse objectively and say, okay, I now possess empirical evidence that sand is a terrible foundation. He takes the surviving bricks, he relocates to solid bedrock, and he begins the building process all over again. He is now a vastly superior architect, entirely because he experienced that catastrophic structural failure firsthand. Without the painful collapse, he never would have been forced to learn the brutal realities of structural integrity. Your regrets are nothing more than the collapsed, ruined houses of your past decision-making. They are completely useless to you if you just stand there and stare at the wreckage in perpetual sorrow. But they become utterly priceless if you are willing to dig in and salvage the blueprints of what went wrong. Here is a profound psychological truth. People who completely lack the capacity for regret also lack the capacity for growth. Sociopaths do not feel regret. Clinical narcissists do not feel the agonizing sting of looking back at their own mistakes. The sheer fact that you are currently feeling it means your internal psychological system is actually functioning correctly. It proves that you have the requisite self-awareness to recognize a behavioral flaw and the absolute desire to execute a correction. So, the very next time that brutal 3 a.m. reel starts playing its greatest hits in your head, do not fight it. And whatever you do, don't try to drown out the noise with cheap algorithmic dopamine. Physically sit up in your bed, turn on the lamp, look the ghost of your past directly in the eyes. Ask that version of yourself a very direct question. What exact lesson are you trying to teach me right now? Then you need to actually listen to the answer. It will usually be incredibly harsh, completely blunt, and entirely true. It will say things like, you played it way too safe, you didn't study the market, you let fear dictate your actions. Accept the harsh reality of that truth. Own it completely without a single excuse. It belongs solely to you. Then you extract the functional lesson, you leave the useless emotional baggage on the floor, and you walk forward. True empowerment has absolutely nothing to do with never making mistakes. That is an impossible standard for any human being. Empowerment is the ironclad commitment to never ever making the exact same mistake twice in your lifetime. It is about actively building a massive database of personal failures, a database so large that your future success becomes mathematically inevitable. Because every single time you use a past regret to formulate a significantly better choice today, you retroactively give that past pain a profound, undeniable purpose in the long timeline of your life. You execute the ultimate psychological alchemy. You take the heavy iron anchor and you melt it down to forge a sail. You completely stop acting like a passive victim to the decisions you made when you were younger and less wise, and you assume the role of the master architect, carefully drafting the blueprints for your own future reality. So, the next time the feeling creeps in, do not run from it. Let the regret burn you, let it sting, but ensure that you let it forge you into someone who takes immediate, calculated action when the next opportunity arises. Let the pain become the ultimate driving force behind every new project, every new script, and every new venture. The only true regret you should ever fear in this life is the paralyzing regret of staying exactly where you are today. Now, take a long, hard look at all the heavy stones of regret you've been carrying on your back for years. Unpack them, lay them out in front of you. Stop treating them like a burden and start seeing them as your inventory. Go out into the world and build something utterly undeniable with those exact same stones. The world does not care about how many times you have failed or how much you regret the past. The market only cares about the value you extract from those failures and deliver to others today. So monetize your mistakes. Let your previous bad decisions serve as the funding for your future independence. Remember, every master was once a disaster. The difference is the master kept taking rigorous notes during the disaster. You have the exact same capacity to turn your lowest moments into your highest leverage points. Stop overthinking the past, start engineering the present. Action is the only known cure for chronic overanalysis. Write the plan, launch the product, start the business, do the uncomfortable thing you've been actively avoiding. Even if it completely fails, it simply becomes more data, more fuel for the furnace, another brick for the foundation. You are in total control of the narrative. You decide whether a memory is a permanent shackle or a stepping stone. Choose the stepping stone every single time. Do not let your past dictate the boundaries of your future. If you want to keep rewriting the code of your own behavior, you need to deeply understand the psychology behind it. That's exactly what we do here. We systematically break down the cognitive patterns that keep you stuck, and we build systems to break free. Hit that subscribe button right now to join a community of people actively engineering their own psychological evolution. Drop a comment below with the one regret you are turning into data today. Until next time, keep building your empire.